This is Character Asked It. You already know Character Did It. I'm here with Shayne McCarthy, who is a man with a hell of a story. If you want to know details of his story about the things that he went through when he was a kid, go check out Rise Over Run. They're doing an amazing thing with trying to help small businesses. And he did an interview. Roman at Rise Over Run did an interview with Shayne, and he went over all those details, and he told the hell of a story that he has. But Shayne, tell us about yourself. What do you do right now?
So I am also known as the H2 water expert. So I help people purify their water. I educate people on the benefits of H2 molecular hydrogen. It's kind of like it's a lot like the alkaline water fab, but on a whole different level, which actually helps you reestablish and maintain a healthy, balanced lifestyle through purified water. Our machines create 8 different levels of water with it, and I just educate people on all the different benefits from that, and what you can do with them, and how they're going to help you and your family's health, and help people all around the world. I got customers from Hawaii to Australia, and it's a great passion of mine to be able to help people based on a little bit of what I talked about with our boy Roman.
Absolutely. And if you all want to know more about his business, also check that same interview out, because that was the basis of the interview. It was the business that he owns, and the struggles that he went through starting it and everything he's doing now. Check it out. Rise Over Run. If you want to know more, hit me up. I'll give you the link. All right. So what after your tumultuous childhood, what did you do after the age of, high school age, 18? What happened?
Well, so my dad, like, I didn't really mention this in the interview with Roman and I talked about the ATV accident that I was involved in that got me inevitably into the water industry, which was actually 10 years ago. So my childhood actually has a different story, but still tumultuous. So my dad, when I was 17, he was diagnosed with what's called necrotizing acute pancreatitis. When he went into the hospital, that illness had a 100% mortality rate. Like, his pancreas basically exploded inside him, and that, your pancreas is what creates the bile that breaks down your food, and also helps create the insulin that regulates your blood sugar levels. And so with that exploding, it affected pretty much every other organ in his body. And so May 5th, 2003, we were given 24 to 48 hours for him to live, which was like, came out of fucking nowhere for us. He went into the clinic with a really upset stomach on like May 3rd, and then 2 days later, we're having this family meeting with a doctor at Vancouver General Hospital, and so we were given the option to do this really risky surgery, which still had a 99% chance that he wasn't going to make it through. But fast forward 13 and a half months after that, so 13 and a half months in Vancouver General Hospital, 20 plus operations. His stomach was wide open the whole time because they were doing so many operations on him. He went septic, I think 4 times, which is like basically your body is shutting down type of thing. He had to relearn how to breathe. He was on a ventilator for 3 months. After 13 and a half months, he was the first person to actually make it out of the hospital from that illness.
Wow.
Yeah. And then his illness was caused by a combination of alcoholism and stress. So he was an alcoholic growing up. So at 17 years old, I kind of was like, yo, you were an alcoholic, and like, he wasn't bad. Like, he was a great dad. He provided a very good life for us. In fact, he was the manager of Western Canada for Gillette when basically he worked his way up from the warehouse of Duracell, the battery company, into sales, and then he was the manager of Duracell, and then Gillette bought Duracell, and then a little bit after that, Procter and Gamble bought Gillette. But when Procter and Gamble bought Gillette, that's when they phased his position out. And so basically, when he was in grade 10, his dad died in a house fire because his dad was an alcoholic and fell asleep with a cigarette in his mouth and died in a house fire. And so he actually dropped out of school at that time. So basically, he was 47 years old, left, he was getting kicked out of his position basically with a grade 10 education. And so his already high levels of alcohol added to the stress of that. That's how he ended up getting that illness. But the progress that they made from him, I actually one of my jobs as a young lad there when I was like 19 years old was I was a bartender at the Keg restaurant, and my manager at the time there, he ended up getting the exact same thing, necrotizing acute pancreatitis. And again, due to alcohol and stress and just not treating yourself properly. But he was only in the hospital for 7 months and still had a partially functioning pancreas, and is still alive to this day just based on the progress that they had made with my dad, which was pretty cool.
Wow.
Yeah, and the real cool thing about it is, we had what we had for the 17 years of me growing up. He passed away on May 5th, 2020, which is 17 years to the day that we were given 24 to 48 hours, which is pretty wild.
Wow, bro.
Yeah, it was a pretty interesting way of going.
You said how many years?
17.
17.
So I was 17 when he was diagnosed. 17 years to the day. 17 is my number now, rightfully so.
That's crazy.
And yeah, it is a pretty interesting story for sure. I mean, he got a lot more out of his life than was expected, obviously. He got to meet his grandkids, not mine, but my brother's kids. He got to meet my wife. We, as a family, got to spend, literally half my life more with him. I got double the time that I could have or should have had, and I often wonder and think about. Oh, hi, Kitty. I'm actually honestly waiting for one of my cats to come in.
She hasn't done this in a long time, man.
She must know. He's like, oh, this guy likes cats. But then I often wonder, like, what would have happened, and like what type of person would I have turned out to be if he didn't, or if he did die back. When I say it was a month away from me graduating high school. It was a pretty crazy time in my life. So yeah, that's definitely still had a tumultuous childhood, if you want to put it that way.
No doubt, man. But also, that had to make you appreciate those 17 years that you got. When those 24, 48 hours that you thought that was it, you can look back and understand the value of the extra 17 years that you got.
Absolutely. I mean, you asked the surgeon. Actually, I don't even think the surgeon that did his operations is still alive anymore. But you asked the doctors and nurses that took care of him, and they will tell you that it was his love for his family and his will to live that kept him going. Because I think it was in the first 3 months, 5 other people came in with that exact same illness, and every single one of them died. And so, he'd come in with students that were learning, and then show him, like, and point right at him, like, 100% mortality rate, and people like, oh, wow, like, holy shit, like. And so yeah, it was pretty cool that he that he was able to like inadvertently affect not only our lives in such a profound way, but many other people as well.
Absolutely, bro. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So you're 18 years old. What are you doing for a living at that point?
At that point, um, I was working at McDonald's when he went in the hospital. I was a swing manager at McDonald's. Not really loving it because I had a lot of shit going. A lot of
Suit.
shit going on in my life, and so I demoted myself down, and then eventually quit. And then that's around the time that I got the job at the Keg, and I was a bartender at the Keg. Just a job, but that was that. I met a lot of people that I actually still have good relationships with there. I still have a lot of relationships with amazing people from McDonald's still too, actually, which is pretty cool.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, then I from there I did a little bit of hardscaping, landscaping. Realized that my job is that I did take after my dad. My job was definitely in sales, in the not necessarily in the corporate world. I kind of went that direction. I was working at Rogers Wireless, selling cell phones for a short period of time, and then while I was working at Rogers Wireless, I ended up becoming an insurance advisor, like life and health insurance, because with what happened with my dad, he was able to stay in his own room for 13 and a half months because of the insurance plan that he had with Gillette, because he got sick before they cut his position out, which was a huge benefit to him and the family later on when he passed. So I worked at Sun Life Financial for 3 years. Within a week of the day, basically, I was like August 8th, 2008. I started, so 888. I also love you can see the numbers in the background there. Love the 444. That's one of my wife's favorite numbers. But and then I think it was August 17th of 2011 that I switched to become a broker and open my own way of doing it. Really, I was really drawn to the entrepreneurial lifestyle, with as many risks as it came with, and many hardships of not necessarily knowing where your paycheck's going to come from and stuff, but it was just always been worth it to be my own boss.
Absolutely, bro. But how did you get to that point?
Well, I mean, going down the corporate world and understanding, realizing that, you're working when you're in the corporate lifestyle, the corporate world, you're working for somebody else. And I just had this really, I don't know if you can see it, I got both of my cats in here, I think. More of an independent, I want to do things myself. I want to create my reality and my life myself, type of thing.
I see her trying to keep the cats in there. It's okay. The cats could be in the interview. That's all right.
Yeah, the cats are welcome.
No, but I'm saying, so what made you actually start your business, and how were you able to do it and do it successfully?
Oh, I don't really have a good answer for that, man. I just kind of fell into it. It's when I was working at Rogers Wireless, which I was very fortunate to have the job that I did. That's when I met what became a manager of mine at Sun Life. But that in itself was, when I was at Sun Life, it was still self-employed, because if I didn't sell policies, I didn't make.
It was commission based, entirely commission based.
Yeah, 100% commission based, and so that's kind of what got me conditioned into that. Other than that, I don't, like, for growing up, I wanted to do the corporate, like, climb the corporate ladder because that's what my dad had done. And I respected what he had done from that. But, I think in weird ways, the universe or source didn't want me to do that because, I mean, that's also what got my dad to, in the alcoholism way and that way of things. And I look at it now and I know, corporate life, and I want nothing to do with that really anymore. um, Not to,
No
to each their
disrespect,
own.
but it's not for me. That's yeah.
Yeah, it's just not for me. And, that's why, and it's just, I don't really have the best answer for that. It just kind of fell into my lap.
I love that you're drinking water out of a mason jar. That's
Yeah, buddy. I like it. I love the mason jars. One, it's good quality glass, and it's, I know it's a liter every time. Kind of helps me keep an eye on how much water I drink per day. Obviously, that's a little bit important to me. Hydration is a big aspect of my life. I was even saying to someone earlier today, I'm like, they're like, oh man, because they're looking at different water systems and things for their sink and stuff like that. She's like, I've never talked to so many water salesmen in my life. And I'm like, hey, tell me about it. I'm like Bobby Boucher selling high quality H2O, and I never thought I would end up being down that road, right?
hell yeah. No, I feel you, man. I feel you. Hey, we all end up where we're supposed to be.
I absolutely agree with that wholeheartedly.
What have been your biggest accomplishments in your life, in your career, or both?
Um, that's a good question. My one of my biggest accomplishments is, and I do believe this, is being where I am today with not just my wife but my best friend.
Mm.
She's absolutely my best friend, and that is a huge. I don't think as many people are able to say that. You know what I mean? And we do everything together, and with smiles on our face, and we love it, right? Um, as of late, actually, my biggest accomplishment would be establishing the relationships that I've established in a business sense. I've got some really good business partners that I work with, and I'm one of the top, if not the top salesperson in my company. So I would say that that's a huge accomplishment for me. Um, I'm actually also finishing up, and I'm in a 90-day program with a coach that we're really developing. We're eliminating the passive aggressiveness that many of us men have due to the way we're raised, and just the way that the world is. So that is also, as of late, a huge accomplishment of mine is making it through that. I've gone 90 days with a focus on faith, family, fitness, and finance, and all four of those are flourishing in many different ways. So that is what I would say is the three top accomplishments of my life thus far. There's seems to all be kind of happening all at once, like right now.
Hey, man.
Which is
Respect to all those.
nice.
Respect to all those, and that means you just got more coming. Will you tell me some broad strokes about what you've learned about how to not be passive aggressive and the causes of us wanting to be?
Yeah, absolutely. So, giving up vices. So weed was a big part of my life prior to this. I used to joke, "Oh yeah, my blood type's THC," and so I've gone this whole time with no weed, no alcohol. I because of my dad, I never really had a huge interest in alcohol. Like I don't like the way that I feel when I drink, and I certainly don't like the way that I feel after. But I realized in interviewing with this coach of mine that I had traded one vice for another, and so I would say to really, to sum it up is being present, being in the present. I would have weed to take me out of that present moment, and not using that, not using vices is and being present and dealing with life, because life is always going to come at you. Feeling all of my feelings, all my emotions, and going through everything, just with a clear and flying straight mindset is a real big part of that. I also challenge myself in many ways now. Like I get up every morning. It started at I get up at 6. Now it's 5:30, or then it went to 5:30. Now it's 5:15 latest. And I'll do 60 burpees and 100 push-ups every morning, including Saturday, Sunday. Drink a liter of my water. Have a cold shower. So I don't no hot, just straight cold shower for 5 minutes or more. And then I'm at the gym in the morning, so I don't have any excuses throughout the day to not go to the gym. Just that getting that physical, mind, body, soul type of thing. And then, every week throughout this plan, there's different challenges. Like 2 weeks ago, I did what's called Burpee Hell Week. And it was exactly that. So 2 Sundays ago, I did what's called Thor's Hammer, and that's you do sets of 10 burpees. The first set is single pump, so 1 push up. Second set's double pump, triple, quadruple, all the way up to 10 pump, and then all the way back down. And in an hour and 10 minutes, I did 190 burpees and 1,000 push-ups. It was disgusting, but the feeling, the accomplished feeling that I got after that was incredible. That's how you build your serotonin in your brain, is taking a challenge and overcoming that challenge. But then there's, my challenge last week was write a letter to my dad. And that was actually probably my biggest challenge. In Burpee Hell Week, with the morning routine that I have, because it was on top of the morning routine that I have, I did 1,260 burpees and 3,100 push-ups throughout the week. But that mental challenge of writing that letter to my dad was definitely the biggest challenge I've had so far. Once I wrote that letter, though, the release, like weight coming off my shoulder in a big way. It was very interesting. But that's going back to the broad strokes of getting rid of the passive aggressiveness is one, creating a vision. So I've got a 2-year vision for myself that I edit and remind myself of. So when I'm in the day-to-day things and things get tough, I've got that vision of like, okay, this is why I'm doing these things. That's why I'm going through these things. We operate on the 4 pillars again: faith, family, fitness, and finance. And faith doesn't mean it can mean whatever you perceive that as. I do believe in God. I've actually started reading the Bible, but from the most non-religious standpoint. I believe that a lot of religion kind of leads you in the wrong direction, personally. And so I'm reading it from my own perspective, and it's been very, very interesting to read with that type of mindset. Family is strengthening the relationships with my family, also friends. Fitness, obviously, that's an obvious one that I've already kind of touched on. And then finance is just, that's part of that vision part. And then you get your core values like integrity, honesty, community, and trust, which are my core values. And you start operating in what's called the fly straight mindset. And, every decision, every choice that you make is based off of, does this fit my core values? How does this affect my 4 pillars? where is this going to, where is this in my vision? And so that's how you really, I think that's why a lot of men especially become passive aggressive. They don't have that vision, and lack, for lack of better words, a purpose. We get in this just autopilot rut, and eventually think, where the fuck am I? Why am I here? What am I doing? And you don't have an answer for that, so that frustrates you, and then you don't do anything about it, and be passive on that. So you become passive in everything else in your life. And that's, so it all starts within, I believe. I've always been, especially doing what I do with water, I've always said, I didn't come here to be a part of this world. I came here to change this world. The biggest ability for me to change the world is by changing my world. The more that I change my world and focus on inside, external changes.
Absolutely, bro. And so many of the things that you just said were beautiful. There's 2 points I want to bring up, and touching on what you just said. The first point is I've seen a thing that said that you don't, if you want to be a person that can help others, you first have to be a person who doesn't need help. You have to become independent. But another thing that I want to touch on, with what you were talking about, is you were doing those crazy exercises and those routines, the burpee challenge and this and that. And it was challenging. It was hard. But then you had to write that letter, and you said that was more challenging. And there's two ways to look at that. There's this physically fit, built, strong guy who you can handle anything. Most people believe, and it's, oh man, you have all this strength, and even he can't handle that. But the point is, I couldn't handle either one probably, but I definitely couldn't handle all those burpees and all those push-ups. And there is no way these arms are going to do that. No way. The point is,
Don't sell
though,
yourself short.
no, they could one day, and that's the point.
Yep.
Point is, you've trained for that, and you are
Yep.
now training for the emotional side. And it takes as much work, and it takes as much effort, and it takes as much blood, sweat, and tears as the physical training did to get to where you're at with being able to do the things you can physically.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, like I said, when I say don't sell yourself short, is it's there's all my coach's program isn't cookie cutter. It will be, he's going to challenge you, and God will challenge you as much as you can handle. And that's the whole point of it, is challenging yourself. Like this week's challenge is walk for 60 kilometers, to do 60 kilometers in walking. And I'm like, when he told me that this morning, I'm like, fuck, that's a lot. But I've already done 10K today. And, I'm going to do probably 5K tomorrow morning before I go to the gym, and in lieu of the burpees and push-ups. Maybe I'll do both. But my wife and I are going to go on a 30K or 32K hike on Sunday. That was going to be a fucking challenge.
Bro, I did 10K, I think, last year. So
but it also didn't start like that, right? When I first started, it was 25 burpees and 25 push-ups every morning, and then I pushed myself to the next week, doing 50 and 50, and then I got to where I've plateaued at and leveled out at 60 burpees and 100 push-ups in the morning. But like I've always been fairly physical and on my game with fitness. But you hit the nail on the head when it comes to the mental strength, the emotional strength. That's where I lacked. And it's you got different bodies. You have your physical body, your energetic body, your etheric body, and like all of those need to be. The more you're in alignment with those bodies, the more the universe will conspire in your favor.
Absolutely,
and that's
bro.
how
And
the four pillars come together.
You can't become emotionally stronger until you challenge yourself emotionally over and over again, just like physical strength.
Yeah, and we again as men need to challenge ourselves. It is what makes us stronger. That is what proves to ourselves that where we can do this, and when you have that strength behind you, that's when you truly, like, can step into that leadership role, because like you said, you can't be sitting there taking advice from this coach that is lacking on so many different levels, even if they're amazing on one level, right? Like, that's one thing I really, that my coach, you think I've done a lot. This guy used to do that Thor's hammer, that thing that did on the Sunday, every fucking Thursday. But he also came from a whole different point. He had many different vices that he was working on. He was way overweight when he started and stuff, and so he is. I gotta give him a shout out. If you can find him on Instagram, it's I'm Sprayed. So IMSPRAYED, like I'm Sprayed, because he's got a full body tattoo. Pretty gnarly. It's
Damn,
very,
bro,
very.
that's cool.
Yeah, he's a very, very cool guy, and he's helping a lot of people. I think
Mm.
that if you are in the, if you're wanting to, if you're willing to give yourself, wanting to take yourself to the next level, he's a great person to help you get there. He will challenge the shit out of you. He won't be. You'll get this. You'll get his voice in your head when you don't want to do something. You'll hear him say, "Don't be a little bitch," and then all of a sudden you're following through with it, and it helps. It helps his mantra, or one of his mantras, is iron sharpens iron. And so I'm in a group of men that are in the same position,
Mm.
that they're wanting to step into that leadership role. They're wanting to be the father for their kids that they know their kids deserve. And I my wife and I do want to have kids one day, hopefully sooner, soon. And I want, instead of backpedaling and then becoming that guy, that man that I want to be for my kids, I want to be that man before we have kids.
No, I feel you, bro. I feel you. What have been the biggest obstacles that you've overcome?
1 second.
Yeah.
Oh, crap. I lost you here.
So, all right, let me just ask the question again, so it'll just be easier for me to cut it after
Yeah,
you go
go ahead.
horizontal. You're not horizontal yet.
Yeah, I know this is.
I
There
feel
we
like
go.
I
There
have
we
to
go.
turn and then okay. All right.
Yeah. So I had to just check my batteries at 9%. So I'll cut this out and we'll keep
No
it
worries,
keep it going.
man.
Just
No
so
worries.
you know.
I got you. Yeah. All right. We
Yeah.
almost done. We almost done. 3, 2, 1. What have been the biggest obstacles that you've had to overcome?
Getting rid of my vices. Being present. Like I said, getting rid of alcohol was no problem, and not me not drink. I could never drink for the rest of my life again and be a very happy guy. But getting rid of the weed, even though it's not, I don't have anything against weed really for anyone. If you indulge, then by all means. Like, I know a lot of people, like most people that I play ball with, smoke weed and stuff, and I still get gummies and stuff from my buddies and stuff when they need it. But that was my biggest challenge. Was getting rid of the weed, because it became a part of my life. I was so high functioning on it. Like, the first time I deadlifted
Hmm.
500 pounds, I took 3 bong rips before I went to the gym, and I'd always say, "Oh, it's not a point of pride," and yet here I was fucking telling everybody about it, like it was a point of pride. So
Well,
with, for lack of better words, that's it.
it's funny that you bring that up, and you're the second person in this. Like, yeah, I've been trying to cut back on bud for the first time in 17 years that I've been smoking. I've been trying to cut back, and really it started as a financial decision. I really need to start
Yeah.
saving my money up and everything, and but then it became a personal challenge for me to
Good.
see, have I gotten to the point, because I've been through my shit, and had I tried to do this a year ago, no way, I couldn't have, because I was still using
You
it
weren't
more
ready
than
for it.
I needed to, but yeah, I still
Yep.
needed it like that. But I've grown, and I'm seeing this as a challenge that I'm putting on myself. No one else has asked me to do this. My lady would have never
Good
asked
for
me
you.
to cut back on it because she understands what I do, but I decided to do it.
Yep. Good for you.
And the funny thing is, I've had an eighth for like 3 days, and I don't think I've smoked a half a gram. And
Good for you,
that
man.
blows my mind. I mean, I was going through like at least the eighth a day if I had the, if I was doing all right,
Yeah.
it,
When I smoked, I was the same way. I ripped through an eighth a day, no fucking problem.
exactly. Like, and if I had a quarter, I'd have gone through a quarter a day. It just
Yep.
whatever. Like it, but it's, and I would have. You can't communicate to anyone anything until they're ready to hear it, and people try to tell me this kind of thing then. But once you're ready, the wind just got crazy and slammed the door. All right, but once you're ready for that in your life and you decide that you want to do it, it is not stressful. It's encouraging. It's exciting.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. I found that as well. The biggest thing for me was just managing sleep. And
I
sleep,
didn't sleep an hour last night, not one consistent hour, but I'll get there. I know I'll get there,
you will get there. Push through it. I know you can.
I
You
know.
will get there.
And look at
And
me, I'm all
and
right,
it is an amazing feeling once you do get there and you're sleeping through the night without vices, without an assistant. You wake up with a clear head. You're ready to take on the day. And one thing that I like to help people understand is it's 1% better every day. That's
Mm,
not on the grand scheme of things. 1%, that's not much, but
but in 3 months, you're
you know
90% better.
exactly. Yeah, and there's a lot to be said about that. It's just that slow but sure thing. As men, we want to just do everything now and multitask and get everything done. No, to take it step by step and continue to challenge yourself. And you'd be amazed at, like, it's pretty cool. I mean, I feel like you're already starting to see it. I can feel that energy, that vibration off of you, that you're feeling. You can see where it's gonna go and can go if you continue on that road. So
Absolutely, man. I've
I
needed it.
encourage.
I've needed it for so long. It's a flex to say that I may not need it soon.
That's a huge flex, man. Own that and be proud of yourself for that. That's awesome. Good for you.
Appreciate that, man. What does success in life look like to you?
That's an interesting question. I would say I'm the most successful that I've ever been at this
Mm.
moment. But that's because I continue to challenge myself. Success can look in many ways. Obviously, in the weirdo, upside down world, materialistic world that we live in, you can look at that as dollars in your bank account. But I know a lot of people that have a lot of money that are the most unhappiest
Oh yeah.
motherfuckers out there.
Oh yeah.
Um, that's what success is being happy. Having that peace of mind, uh, that with even when you're going through the shit. Is having that ability to keep that peace in here and in here in your heart, because that's another facet to success, is thinking from here, thinking from your heart, and not thinking from here. When you get yourself into the heart-based mindset, you're serving yourself, you're serving the world. You're loving yourself and you're loving the world. That's success to me. Is peeling back those layers and tapping into source, into the love and light that we all are. When you peel back all the crazy layers of the onion, all the judgments and labels that we give ourselves, and you peel all of that back with just love and light. That to me is success.
That's beautiful. That's absolutely beautiful.
Thanks, man.
Before we end this, is there any piece of life advice, any sentiment that you would like to leave anyone watching?
Honestly, get a coach. Reach out. Every coach that I know has a coach. And that's a big part of why they have their success and allows them to instill wisdom into others.
Do you mean fitness
Reach
coach
out,
or life coach?
like life. A good life coach is going to have you kind of working on all levels. And I'm not talking about when you can have a fitness coach that can create a plan for you if you don't know what you're doing at the gym and you have a specific physique goal. But I would say a life coach over a business coach. The fitness part will all fall in place if you have a good life coach.
Okay, man, that's a different kind of piece of advice that I've gotten from anyone else. But it's
Good. I
interesting,
wanted to
and I agree
be
with it. Some of my biggest like not mentors, but the people that I admire most: Gary V, Simon Squibb, things like that. Man, life coach. These guys that, that's what I aspire to be later in life. I have a lot to work on. Obviously, I'm a little scrawny, but
that's
it. There's
one step
these.
at a
You're
time.
right. Life coaches are, man, they are so all knowing in so many ways. I'm not saying they know everything, but it's just
No,
it's so well rounded. It's such they have so much to say about so many about anyone as an individual.
absolutely, and even your Gary Vee will have his own coach, and no, you're absolutely, and no coach will ever have it all figured out. If they say if your coach acts like or says that they've got it all figured out, get yourself a new coach because they're full of shit. And if
Cool.
a good life coach is going to be honest with you because honest expression leads to honest action.
Mm.
And if they're not being honest with themselves, they're not going to be honest with you. And nobody in this fucking world has it all figured out.
Right.
There's that's a fact.
I'm just saying,
And we're all
it sounds like you're about ready to be a coach.
who knows? I coach people and how to get that high quality H2O, but I who knows where this path will take me. Maybe I'll challenge myself into that level. But it's I've seen the value of having that person that you can lean into, learn from, and have them push you while you push yourself, and just get you on that right path.
Hell yeah, man. Hey, I can't wait to see where you go. I can't wait till to see where this path leads
Likewise,
you.
likewise, brother. You're on a very healthy path. It sounds like too, and it'll be. I'm so glad that we connected through Roman, and it's like one of the very cool things about this crazy world that we live in is meeting people that are all the way across the
Yeah.
country, but we've got that connection that in science it's called quantum entanglement, and that we're all connected in our own ways, and it's I love this conversation. I'm so glad that we did this.
Same, bro. Same. And quantum entanglement, that's my new favorite phrase. And I get that. It's for real. I've met the best people, some of the best relationships I've ever had. I've met randomly through a social media hustle, one or another, and they are all across the world. And it doesn't
Yeah.
matter, but it's genuine connections. I really I'm glad we connected. I enjoyed this as well, and I really hope that I can continue to be part of your journey, bro. For real.
Absolutely, and again, likewise. I want to keep this line of communication open. I hope that everybody that listens to this gets some value out of it, and can go out and do what we're doing, and just continue to make this world a better place.
Absolutely, man. Hey, thank you for your time. Follow him up. It's Shayne Mcarthy, aka H2 Water Expert. Hit us up. This has been a great episode of Character Acid. I'll see y'all next time. Peace out.
Peace.